my Facebook, and then we're away. Hi, it's Bernie Slane here. Thanks for joining me on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And thanks as always to the sponsors, Galaxy Blinds, Cornerstone, GRS Insulation, Dovecot, Advanced Utility Solutions, Ocean Lighting, Ultimate Windows, Cleveland Systems Engineering and TGM Cars. Well, today it was back to league action. Last week was disappointing. We got a wee boost midweek despite the 5 changes. We went out there, found ourselves 1-0 down against Huddersfield. After, 4 minutes, then the man sent off, and then we won 3-2. So that was great progressing. But obviously Coventry, different proposition today. Yeah, I mean, they were beaten, by Leicester in the first game. So both teams went into today's game not winning their opening championship campaign game. And the team today was Dieng, Coulson, Fry, Lenihan, McNair, Crooks, Hackney, Belazer, Jones, Silvera and Rogers. And on the bench was Belongo, Coburn, Foz, Gilbert, Glover, House and McGree, Piero and Van der Berg. What game did I see? I watched the game, obviously. First half was poor. Would I use the word abysmal? Probably wasn't as bad as abysmal. It wasn't good. So not much to talk about. Second half, we could only get better than we did with a couple of chances. But the one thing that really annoyed me as a former striker was the amount of times we had shots blocked and blocked again, and that was throughout the game. I've never seen so many players' shots getting blocked. If they're getting blocked, it means they're not pulling the trigger fast enough. Drop the shoulder, bang. No, take another touch and another touch. And the amount of times we're blocked, count them. I don't know how many blocks there were. You look at the stats that certain people put up and they say shots 15. I'm thinking, 15? 15 where? I think we had one shot on target that I remember of any quality. I looked at the front two, Rogers, Silvera. Silvera missed a sitter. Square ball for Rogers on the right. Square ball, he was 6 yards out. He shanked it way up in there. But let me tell you, in my own opinion about those two, I think they'll cause problems for defences throughout the season. They're quick, they're sharp, they're nimble, they're direct. Are they goal scorers? Well, I don't see any pedigree. I think they'll chip in with a few goals, but are they going to be Akpom like Akpom did last season? Probably not. But I still think we need a centre forward going in today. But I think those two look the part. They're not like Ramsey and Archer and company. And Ramsey, similar, small, quick. Let's see, the GOAT people. 2 games in, 2 disappointing performances. 4 goals conceded, no goals scored. Not the best stats, not the best. Did I expect anything better? Probably a wee bit better, but not much. You know, you can't let our star players go. I mean, Chuba's more or less gone. And I says that last Saturday. On the bench was Kadology. He was never coming on last Saturday. People were saying he was going to start today during the week, or he's going to be in the squad, and I says he won't be. And I was right. Bill accounts, he's going to Rennes. I don't know if the deal's done yet, but it's, yeah, they're talking about 11 million. Well, it's good luck to Chuba. You know, the pleasure of interviewing the lad last season and watching his every game and playing very well. And there were a few exchanges behind the scene with myself and him. And he hit that 20 league goals now. Is it going to be another 33 years before we get another player that's going to hit the 20 plus league goals? I hope not. But we need players. And today, I mean, I read a few quotes for Carrick. I know there's loads coming in and I'm backtracking and there's loads here. But I wrote these down. I don't read papers, but I put a few of the quotes in. Carrick insisted last week, we don't have to sell Chuba Akpom this summer. That was his words, no mine. Carrick was also quoted as saying they had not been told selling Akpom was a necessity. So I think deep within he was hoping and thinking, you know what, he'll still be here. And then he went on to say, when asked whose decision was it, it's a club decision. Really, we're all in it together. It's always the best for the first team squad. But selling Akpom and every player returning and not getting them back, I think he's hesitant now. I think the super cool Carrick, I says last season, everything went hunky-dory. This season, I think he'll get ruffled a bit and I think he might be responding. And reading some of the quotes, and the thing is, if they're all in it together, if it doesn't go to plan, there's only one that will get sacked. So all the other ones will get off scot-free, but he'll be done. I tell you, look, Carrick, I see people texting me saying he'll be gone by Christmas. Look, we've still got a chance of bringing a few players in. And if we don't, then I think we're in for a long winter. It's no cliche, but it's a true saying. Colin had texted in, I had to see where Carrick goes from here. His lack of management experience is a cause of concern. Loney's gone. Chuba gone. Right, I'm going to backtrack these. I've got loads to try and fulfill. Here we go. Let's see. Right. Not the same squad as we wanted. Need some class for Norman Shoot, no messing. Paul Kearney, evening Bernie, evening Paul. Andy Appleyard, afternoon Bernie, afternoon Andy. Absolute powder puff today. Lack leaders, zero intensity, nobody gets stuck in. That's a fair point as well. I've never seen anybody really setting the tone, getting the sleeves up, saying, come on. The team selection has been a joke the time. Subs a joke. How is Foz, Coburn, McGree all not starting? But you have Crooks as a 9, Rogers as a 10. It reminds me of Tony Pulis playing players anywhere and leave the best on the bench. Prove a point and we get Bernie back on the BBC. I don't think I'll be back anywhere. I've never been on there. I don't think they would entertain somebody. Come on. BBC, I tell the truth. I don't mean just locally, I mean nationally. Good evening, Bernie. We looked like a League One side today. Ask how a club can go from all those loads from Akpom, and to lose the assist from Archer and Giles, and to think we're going to be okay with what we have brought in. It's not good for any true fan like yourself to see. Look, the deluded will think, oh, I've heard people last week at the game, oh, top 6. And I used the word deluded. You're kidding yourself on. If you think this squad and team, and I'm a Borough fan, I love the Borough and I want the best for my team, the club that gave me my big opportunity. If you honestly think that this squad is better than last season and we're going to finish in the top 6, you're bonkers. You're off your nut. Seriously. We need at least 3 players in. At least 3. We need a left back. Coulson. Boy worked hard up and down, eventually taken off along with a few others, but it was up and down, but can't remember a quality ball coming in for him. I mean, he was leaving that, to the outside left guy, but no, I just thought today was poor, and as I say, I don't get not overcritical, it's only 2 games in, but do a Huddersfield on Saturday. Neil Warnock comes back. The odds are they won't go down to 10 men. The odds are one that will go out and say, hey, they've been done the last 2 games, let's do them again, let's boot them off the park. He ain't going to come up and watch us fanning about and fan dancing. We've lost a bit of zip and zest. And do you know what it is as well? See the Chuba situation. The players love, as far as I know, he's a popular lad. Last year he done brilliant. The players that were already here last season were thinking, what's happening with Chuba? That's unsettling. That's not good for boosting the morale. Definitely not. So that for me is, that's unsettling. And if he's gone now, I don't know. I didn't read anything before I come on, but if he's gone now, all the best to Chuba. But the one question I would ask: did we offer him a contract? I've never heard that we have. I've never seen anybody saying to me or reading anything or that we offered him a contract and he declined the offer. I don't know. But I said at the tail end of last season, I said that after failing to get promotion, it'd be the feast of the famine. I expected all the loan players to get back. Rewind my Facebook Live and you'll find it. I said they would all return. Chuba would be sold. I'm not proud to get it right, but yeah, that's the reality when you don't make the promised land. We were destined for the Premier League. This was my best chance for 14, 15 years, and it didn't come off. So, people were kidding Akpom on the bench last week. Kidology. Paul Ken says, hope now this Akpom business finally put to bed, so he must be off. He's off to Lens, 11 million Lens, that's what we hear. Hopefully we can move forward when we get these 2 new players in, because today we could have played all day and not scored. That's a good point as well. We could have played all day and not scored. You know, we had chances. There was one, it was Rogers, wasn't it? Rogers cut in for the left, beat 2-3 players, Great run, fantastic run. And the keeper was actually wrong-footed. He was going to his left, and the shot went right. Now, if it hits the target, it's a goal because the keeper ain't getting there. But he was off target. Great shame. And as I mentioned, Silvera missed a great chance. Can you imagine it? Rodgers going up the right, plays it square. He's 6 yards out, Silvera, who scored during the week. And by the way, he's a player. Middle of the goal, and he blazed it 20, 30 feet over the bar. It was hard to miss it, or at least hit the target. But I still think those two will do well long term. Horrendous performance today, Berners, for Alec Henry. Leaving Coburn, McGree and Foz out of the starting was the first worry. Rodgers isn't a forward. Fans were screaming for Silvera and Jones to start. Jones did start on the right. After the cup game of today proved they are not the answer. Crooks isn't always will be an impact player, i.e. a sub. Gibson and Co have a few weeks to sort this out, or else we could be in trouble this season. I'm sure that, look, Steve Gibson's one of the few chairmen that actually knows about football. He is a footballing fan. I played in charity games years ago with Steve Gibson. He's rough and ready for the Heart of Middlesbrough. Obviously progressed and did very well for his selling the football club in the town or whatever. He will know, looking at today, I'm sure he'll be watching it somewhere, or if he was at the game, he'd have seen last week, and he'll know exactly what we're looking for. But as Carrick says, it's a togetherness. You can imagine it's the chairman, chief exec, the director of football, and Carrick. But as I said earlier, the unfortunate thing is they're all in it together. But when it goes, if it goes tits up, excuse the expression, when it goes that way, then there's only one guy to lose his job. And I looked at Carrick today. He got booked today, didn't he? Must have been losing his cool on the bench. From Archer and Akpom to Latte. What a laugh that is. Yeah, there's a guy called Latte. No as in a coffee drink. Latte, yeah, we'll talk about him later. Andrew Wilkinson, hi Andrew. Time for a change, this time not manager or players, but the chairman needs to either sell 49% or give up altogether. Altogether, he's been an exception to any football league, but times are changing. Well, Andrew, I'll be honest, right? I've heard this. I've got people here, I've looked over them, saying Gibson sell up. We're only 2 games in. And I'm in the same opinion of you that over the summer we've brought in 3 goalkeepers. I'm thinking 3 goalkeepers. Well, not that bad defensively. I know we looked at it today, but 3 goalkeepers. I'm looking for 3 centre forwards, not 3 goalkeepers. But yeah, Steve Gibson. Who's going to buy Middlesbrough Football Club? Think about it, seriously. The Arabs or the Saudis or whoever, they ain't going to buy Middlesbrough. Some people refer to us as the arsehole of Britain, Middlesbrough. Worst place to live, biggest crime rate, bigger drug rate, biggest this, biggest that. Not. I try and promote it, I go out here, I love it, I love the area, I love the hard-working people, the industry. We're doing a play in the town hall, Steel and Iron. We plug for that, starts on Monday night, get yourself there, learn about your heritage, your culture. But, yeah, nobody's going to buy Middlesbrough. So, Steve Gibson has been in this game for many years, young director when I was here, sanctioned my signing when the late great Willie Madron wanted to sign me for 25 grand. The then chairman was Alf Duffield, who was on holiday, and Steve Gibson got a phone call for the late great Willie Madron, who was the then manager, and Willie says, look, would you sanction it? He's on holiday, and back then you did in mobiles and that. And Steve Gibson sanctioned it. So that was a good bit of business from Steve Gibson for me and Willie. Yeah. But I've heard this before, sell up. Who's going to buy it? It's like Hartlepool. I've did a chat with Racing, the Hartlepool chairman. I'll be putting that in the podcast next week or 2. And fans shouting at him, sell your club. And I says, no disrespect, who's going to buy Hartlepool? Who's going to buy Hartlepool? Barely disjointed, Carrick has done well, but today he's had a nightmare with that selection, Paul Jones. Well, when Wilder and Warnock were picking sides that we were questioning, I keep doing that because I got a bit of hair in my eye. When Wilder and Co were picking teams, some people were accusing him, what's he doing? What kind of selection is that? Is that Carrick flexing his muscle saying, well, okay then, you can let it go who you want to go, but I'll pick the team because I'm still in charge of the team selection and training. Whereas you can give me who you want and let go who you want, but I'd still pick the team. I don't know. But Wild and company were accused of that with the fans. We started bad last season and still got the playoffs. Yeah, we started bad last season, but the same problems arose last season where we went X amount of months where we didn't recruit right and it wasn't good enough and we didn't really perk up till Ramsey and Cole came in. And obviously Carrick came in. The Carrick, we think, hold on a minute, it's not a mirror image of last season, is it? When he came in, Carrick, he changed the dynamics, everything was hunky-dory, everything went brilliant, we played football, same players, same positions, ripped the 5 at the back up, everything was great. But hey, at the minute, as I say, I always judge 12, 14 games, you get an idea. But I'm thinking, 2 defeats, home and away, Huddersfield next, Neil Warnock. That's a tough old game. And then I think the week, where is it? Week after, is it West Brom? I try and take one game at a time, but yeah, so Andy McClay said we started. Yeah, I agree with that. Graham McTiernan says, I heard a great quote, reminded me of you. I don't follow you because you're right. I follow you because you're real. That's a fair observation. Football, bad day at the office. I follow you because you're real. I'm real. I'm not saying I'm writing anything and everything I say, but I stick to my guns. I'll fight my corner. I'm a Borough fan. I live in the area. I love the area. I'm a fan of Steve Gibson. I'm a fan of the clubs. I'm a fan of the peoples. But I've got an opinion and nobody's going to stop my opinion. Talking about football. Okay, now you give me 30 grand a week, you could throw stones at me and shoot bullets with a gun. It's an opinion. It's no more than that. But some opinions carry more weight than others. You get any Joe Blogs and guys who can hardly spell football, a woman who can hardly spell football. See how I say both of them. Having opinions and hammering people. I'm not here to hammer. I'm dictated what I see. I was honest the other day, the midweek game, I've never seen a game, so I couldn't really comment and overdo it. But I seen today's game, what I do. The midweek game against Huddersfield was the first game I've missed for years and years and years. Garbage, was genuinely cringing at how bad we were for Tom Corrigal. Yeah, Tom, I take it you're not happy. Tom, I think, was furious after the first half, and reading that, he didn't get any better in the second half. Keith Watson says, Michael Carrick looks lost in what he has from Kieran Scott and Neil Bowser. It's not good for us fans. Carrick not having his own say if the player's in and out. Well, Carrick says, here's the quotes, if you've just joined us, Carrick's quotes were, he insisted we don't have to sell Chuba Akpom, so the press has obviously asked him that. We don't have to sell him this summer. Then Carrick was quoted as saying that he had not been told selling Akpom was a necessity. So deep in his heart, he's still thinking, we've got a chance of keeping him here. Or is that cadology on his part just getting out there? And then he's going to say it's a club when asked whose decision was it. Well, I could tell you the answer, but you don't, you need Carrick, I'll tell you the answer. We're all in it together. It's always the best for the first team squad. That's the same with any decision. That's him more or less indirect telling you. But that's how modern clubs operate. It's not just Middlesbrough. Michael Carrick's bought into it from last season. He agreed with what the club and Kieran Scott's position and what was happening. Wilder and Warnock didn't. They rebelled, they say things. And I read a wee bit into that and I thought, oh, he ain't happy. He's going about it in a different way. Look at the guy for, was it Wolves? He came out and gave them a bit and lost his job. And somebody says that Carrick didn't look comfortable in the press conference today. I didn't see it. I heard it says it looked uncomfortable. Putting Foz and McGree on the bench and Morgan is no number 9. Richard Curtin says, why isn't he playing Foz up top? And McGree's a number 10. Well, the thing is, what we're doing now, we're putting names in the hat now and just pulling them out. Is McGree a number 10? I don't really know, do you, Richard? Foz, I heard he's a forward, but I've never seen him there. Have you? I can't imagine Foz scoring loads of goals. Tell me his goal tally in his career. Will it make me go, wow? Or make me go, you're joking, aren't you? Andrew Hill says, shambolic defeat for Borough today against Coventry. And in today's game, some players were disappointing when playing like Belaise and Crooks. Yeah, Crooks, he's not centre forward. Crooks had a great season a couple of years ago. He played in the right, scored 11, 12 goals. did fantastically well. He's drifted in at the team for whatever reason. And up front, he's not a centre forward. I think he did well last year at Birmingham. Might have scored 1 or 2. But he's not a centre forward. Playing with your back against big hairy ass defenders, kicking you, and your back to go is a hard thing to do. And Belazer, I thought, yeah, Belazer, we signed him 900 grand, was it for Rotherham last season? He played a bit piece and he started the first couple of games and he's not really set the header alight, but hey, let's give the lad a chance. It's only a couple of games in. Glenn Durant, hiya Glenn, evening Billy, Joseph Slavin, absolutely ruined my Saturday. Hate an early kickoff. Hope things are going well, Glenn. Ruined your Saturday, I know. I usually buy the dogs an ice cream, but not today. No ice cream for the dogs. I'm peeved off as well as you. Hate an early kickoff. I agree with that as well. 12:30 kickoff. Mind the days, well, the older generation, mind the days of 3 o'clock kickoffs on a Saturday. That was it. No midweek games, no televised games. 3 o'clock Saturday. That was the days, wasn't it? Colin Fright says, Rodgers, 8 goals in 70 appearances and playing as a 9. Well, he's filling a gap. By the way, I still think Rodgers is a good player. But, yeah, no centre forward. Coburn's still raw. So Vera looks the part. I still don't really know where he plays. I know that today there was Rodgers, Silvero, and in the middle was Crooks. Sort of at times we were trying to play a 3-pronged attack. And the thing was, with a bit of pace there, Rodgers and Silvera fairly quick. Jones was on the right. He was fairly quick. But we flat to deceive. Michael Pugh says, same old Bernie. Defensively poor. Lightweight midfield and up front toothless. I kind of disagree with that. All the gaps left by on-loan players haven't been filled, I'm afraid. But this is what happens, Ash Hart. I've said this for years. We are building, I concentrate on us, forget the rest. A lot of clubs do it. But when you're bringing loans in, your foundations are made of sand. So you get them in. You mean Cabano? You remember Cabano? He was a good player. He came and gone out for Fulham. He came. We've seen all these guys come and go over the years. But the loan players disappear. And if they play well, we've put them in a shop window. We've given them the stage, the platform. They shine. And then they go elsewhere. See you later, Middlesbrough. And we're left to start again and try and build the foundations. And the foundations again are made of sand. And it just keeps going on and on. And it's happening every year now. Look, I get the clubs get a certain way of dealing with money now because they've squandered it in some garbage, especially centre forwards. I don't know who's been responsible for them, but some of them have been garbage, awful. 12 million, 10 million, 8 million. Don't need to get through them. You should know them by now if you know your history of Middlesbrough. So maybe they think, no, we ain't squandering all these millions of pounds now. We're just going to get loans in, see if they do a job, see if we can get us where we want to be. But this is the downside. Archer, Ramsey, brilliant last year. Giles, unbelievable, most creative player, driving forward, whipping quality balls. I would have scored a few. I think I'd have hit double figures with him getting balls in now at my age. That's how good he was. Defensively, he was flawed, of course he was. But he moved to Luton, £5 million. I don't know if we were in or tried to get him, but that's a very good signing for Luton. Top 6 Mars, more like bottom 6, Paul Kearney. What does I say? Some people say don't criticise fans. When the adrenaline's up, fans will say what they want, and that's what fans do. As long as you keep supporting your club, fine. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion. I know the PC lot don't want you in the woke brigade. They want to wake up that lot. They don't want you saying detrimental or negative. What a load of pants. Bollocks it is. Bollocks. Vent your spleen. It's football, man. There's people dying in the world getting bombed, raped and pillaged. And people are worried about a word out of sync. Oh, you can't say that. They want to castigate you. Why get rid of Bola? To be honest, didn't even know you'd gone. Matt Tuchel said, I hope this season doesn't turn into a rebuilding season to totally throw the progress we made last season in the bin. Well, that's the other, Bill. It is. It's start again. It's a rebuilding process. You look at the lads we've brought in, all young. The only thing I'm against is 7 signings and 3 goalkeepers. I think it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. 3 goalkeepers. And young Saul Brennan. If I was Saul Brennan or Coburn, 2 local lads up this neck of the woods would probably, I'm sure they support Borough and come up supporting Borough. This farming out all the time, I get that loan out. My day they called it farming out. used to farm you out. Loan. Well, all these players we're bringing in, I would look at it and think, well, obviously I'm no the number one. They're signing all these young lads now. And I'm still a young lad and I'm not getting a chance. They just keep shipping me out. So I would probably knock on the door and say, look, you want to sell me or punt me or whatever. Lucas Engel, is it, will be a new left back. Inside information, Crooks and Rogers replace Chuba and Archer, says it all. Well, at the minute, Carrick's probably knows he's not got the talent and the players that he wanted so far in the window of opportunity. So he's just plugging holes at the minute. Caught your missus driving your your car yesterday, fella. Ha. Yeah, bad driver. She was doing that. Yeah, bad driver. We lacked ideas. Too many players lack intensity in the play. Why do we walk with the ball? That just slows the game down. Well, last season that was the biggest accolade I could give the team. The pass and the movement was slick. It was accurate. We hunted in packs, and everything was quick tempo. We're only a couple of games in. Coming for the kid-on games of the pre-season into the real deal always takes a few games to settle in. After the first 4 or 5 games, then you start sharpening up, hopefully. I know some clubs have started sharper than us, but yeah, we've looked slow and sluggish and laboured and predictable. I agree with that, but the players will know that as well. Sorry to see you looking get a wallop. Oh, I don't know any of the scores. I've just been peeved off with the Borough and just come away for the football side, concentrating in the play next week. Matt Bolton says, now Bernie, absolute poor performance, disappointed results. We have had 5 million bid accepted for striker Emmanuel Lath. I've seen something about him. Let me see. Yeah, tell us. Here we are. Yeah, Lenhead says, a lot of talk about Borough signing Emmanuel Lath from Atlanta. He's 24 and I think he scored I don't know, Lath. I think he scored something like 36, 37 goals in 150 odd games or something. So 1 in 4, whatever. Never good at maths, but I don't know if we signed him. We've had 5 million bid accepted. Okay then. So there's going to be a forward then. Let's hope he's better than some of the dumplings we've had over the years. All I can see on the internet is nothing about Akpom, but it says we're very close to signing 16-goal Atlanta striker Lath or whatever. Look, Akpom, I said last season, gone. He was always going to go. I mean, fans were saying to me, I see him on the bench, yeah. Surprised he didn't come on, yeah, he's coming back midweek in the cup game. Rubbish. No chance. I actually thought, talking about strikers and talking about contracts running down and moves, I did think Harry Kane was going to stay put, but he never got that one wrong. Purely Swan, Wilder and now Carey, all good managers thrown under the bus. About 10 people called Gibbo, this is for Joe Dugan, Gibbo out. Any other team would have done so a long time ago, but no, not us. Too many tongues up. I'll leave that bit out, yeah. Sort of referring to bums. Him, Bowser, Scott, the 3 clowns. P.S. wouldn't pick Hayden Coulson for Grangetown boys. Look, what I will say, Joe, it must be a difficult job. As I say, I don't know the finances, but reading Carrick's quotes, he says that they were cool. You know, they need indication that we're going to sell Akpom. It wasn't a necessity. Well, that would mean to me that the financial side's okay. I don't know anything about it, but reading that quote, I thought must be all right. But their position's a horrible position as well. They're the ones under the real pressure. They know what's really going on behind the scenes. And no doubt they know they're going to get a bit of flack if the players don't arrive that the fans foresee coming in. At the minute, as I say, 7 players in, some of them for clubs we don't even know. I don't know. Some of them no track records, for all signed for your contracts. And again, we can see what they're trying to do. You must be able to see what they're trying to do. Try to bring young players in for peanuts and move them on in 3-4 years' time. But you know what? I reckon out of 7, there'll be probably about 1 here in 4 years' time. None of them will be here in 4 years' time. Some of them might fall by the wayside in a year. They're not all going to click. No chance. Sorry about McNair, Coulson, Crooks and Jones not good enough. That's for Rob Shepperson. Keith Watson says, Bernie, some of the goals today could have been stopped if we had defenders like back in your days, Mowbray and Pallister would have threw the bodies in the line and not let some of those goals in like we did today. Well, the first one, the ball came in for the right and Lenihan and Fry, well, there was just a gap between them and the lad nicked in between both of them. The ball came in, the gap was fairly wide, probably got a bus through there and the boys hit it first time, bottom right hand corner. It was a good finish in his part, poor defensively. The next one, I think it was at Hayden Hackney that I think his touch was heavy and anyway came into the box, guy hit it. And then the third was a spawny third goal. Saying that, they could have scored 5 or 6, they had a few great chances. Ball came in for the right. It's come in for the right, across the goal, and it's hit Lenihan and flew in the corner, and that was it. Good night, Borough. What would your starting 11 be, Bernie? Paul, what, next time I'm on here, I'll write all that down. You've given me a wee thought, I'll do that, I'll write. But do you know what? I'd be guessing like everybody. I think Carrick's pulling names out of hat at the minute. I don't think he knows it. He doesn't know his best team. He must be looking at the squad now and thinking, dear God, I had it. Everything was hunky-dory last season. Now I'm down to a 5-a-side team and we're bringing in any Tom, Dick and Harry. Don't get me wrong, we've had players over the years that's come in with tags and price tags and names and backgrounds and pedigrees, and they've faltered. So if they don't produce, then we can always say, oh, well, we didn't spend a lot of money on them. We take Jones off. Why didn't we keep him on? Take Rodgers off and put Foz up front. I don't know the answer, only the manager would know that, the coach. As clueless as it can be, a dismal start to the season that surely must get better. Let's hope Carrick can attract some creative loan signings. We can only attract them if the top boys sanction them. Because he's talking about, it's, what's the word they use? We're all in it together. So whoever's in that huddle, he needs them to get the players that he would like, but he won't always get the players that he likes. And he won't always keep the players that he wants. Latte, 2 sugar, and Andy Tanner's cracked a funny. Julie Demmer says, we will always be selling the club. Fact. We are a selling club. That's another thing we have to accept. You know, we are a selling club. But I would question, let's go back to the academy at Middlesbrough. People raved about it when it first came out. Wow, what an academy. Great facilities, which is at Haworth in Darlington, not Middlesbrough, Darlington. Great setup, state of the art, training pitches, everything. And it is fantastic. And we produce guys like Stewie Downing, Adam Johnson, Dale Fry, Ben Gibson, young Hackney's come through. But I'll never, ever be overly convinced if we produce a centre forward. But I think we've hit the buffers, and that's why we're scouring the world. Well, it is a world, isn't it? There's Americans and Australians. And some of them's 18, 19, 21. Young boys. I thought the academy were up to 21. Or the younger lads were up to 21. So quite clearly we've hit the buffers, so we're roping in players for outside. So the academy. Anybody know what's in the academy? Do you know anybody in the academy? Oh, hi Bernie. Bernie, I'm Bernie. It's Doogie. I was sitting writing my notes for 1 or 2 things and this, and Doogie's a Liverpool fan. He lives in the village, he's a Liverpool fan. Doogie, you should be ashamed. You should be a Borough fan. No, he supports the Borough as well. He does Liverpool, Borough, anything in red. Stuart Forrester says, same as last week for me. One team makes is good wide. We don't have the options to throw into the box. That was one thing I noticed today. As a forward, I'm looking for good service. And I was forever praising Giles and Co last season. But today, nah. We don't have the tools to throw corners into the box. Corners were poor. We have a great way of playing, which is through the middle. But once we have found out plan B is lacking, I hope I'm wrong, but that season looks dead in the water after. No, come on, Stuart. No, give it 12, 14 games. But what I will say, going through the middle, that's my best chance at the minute, because the width, I don't think we've got the width at the minute. Or we didn't have the day. And the fullbacks going forward like Coulson and Co. I don't think Coulson's ever going to be a Giles. I don't. I've seen him firsthand. I think he's good player and full of energy and striving. But through the middle today, no chance. They play 3 centre-backs. They played it in the playoffs. And we never get through them at the Riverside. We did down there, but the 3 at the backs are... When I played, I would play me and... Say it was Ian Baird. You play against 3 centre-backs. And you know right away, they're playing with that. Back then it was called a sweeper. And you would say, fuck, we're going on a hard shift today trying to buy these 3. And the only way to get behind them is get the wingers and get the balls in the box. Today, we never got anything wide. We never got anything in the box. Couple of balls come over, Malaya. Couple of balls come over. No urgency, no flair. Crooks is not the answer. Michael Pugh says, Bernie, do you think opposing managers have figured out Carrick's tactics? I've heard people saying that as well. Look, people obviously know your style and your brand of football. They know Carrick, since he came into the club, likes to 4 at the back, 4 in the midfield, 1-1, plays the number 10, plays a striker, play football, same team in the main, and how we want to shift the ball. And yeah, everybody knows that. So it does get tougher. I say that with young Hayden Hackney. Last season, comes into the scene unknown. I think a young player of the year, and deservedly so, he was very good. This season, people know what he's about. I thought he was all right today, Hackney. I thought he was all right today. And I thought, so Vera was all right today. And Rodgers in certain bits. They were the only 3 caught my eye. The keeper had a couple of good things, but the keeper, I think he missed and flapped at a couple as well. Because I seen the keeper last week and I thought, I like him. You never know with goalkeepers. More keepers than strikers. Andy, that's what I'm trying to say. Who's responsible for bringing... If I was Carrick, I would say, whoa, hold on a minute. Three keepers. Are you winding me up? Why are you bringing 3 in? Harry from Dubai, who you kept bumping into last week, says hello. Yeah, tell Harry I was asking for him. Met Harry, he was over to Dubai. The kid with him, big Borough fans. Live in Dubai. Was in Dubai here. See the weather here last hour or so. Which striker would you love to bring in now Akpom's left? Hopefully there'll be a few quid to spend now. Well, hopefully there is, Ali. I don't know what's going to happen to the money. The one guy that jumps out at me right at this minute is the big lad up the road at Sunderland. A lot of talk about him. Is it Stewart? Stewart? Centre forward. He's got a great goal record. His first season, he banged in goal for fun. Last season, he had 11 in as many games. Then he got a bad injury. Then he's been out for the season. Loads of clubs sniffing about him. We're meant to be in there. Again, I don't believe Tony Mowbray, who's my pal and a guy I respect greatly. I mean, I'm no privy info, but I'm surmising, and I don't think I'll be far off. I don't think he's in control of Sunderland. If he's watching this and then he digs me, that's fine, but I don't believe he'll be in control of anything at Sunderland. So I'd go for him. Because, and the other thing is, he's on my doorstep. He lives in this area. He wouldn't need to uproot his family. I don't know if he's got family and kids and all that, but he wouldn't need to uproot anybody, so he wouldn't need time to settle. It'd be purely the football. So for me, he would be the guy that I would be looking for. Just let me read a couple of these, because I always go. Bernie, letting Chuba go shows what we're about this season. Mid-table mediocrity. As for Dave, Jeff says, Chuba looks destined for Lens 11 million. Good business, I'd say, but it's only good if, from a fan's point of view, if we spend it, if you're a chief executive chairman, then it's great business, because we got him for under 3 million. Lenny says, a lot of talk about Borough signing Emmanuel Latte. I mentioned that. If you don't know him, he plays for Atlanta. He's 24, 36 going, 150 odd appearances. Franco says, looks like Archer, who was on loan last season from Villa, is going elsewhere. Yeah, I heard there's rumours of Sheffield United looking at him. Neil says, what's happened to our academy? I've mentioned that, I've covered that. If you've just joined us, I've already covered that. Colin says, rumours, we the Borough, we're going to go in for Sunderland. Ross Stewart is Stewart, yeah. What did I say? He scored like 26 goals in 50 odd games last season, and I mentioned he scored like 11 and 40. He's a very good striker, he's a handful. Played against us last season and scored for the penalty spot when Dale Fry pulled him back. Yeah, I'll read the rest. If I don't make it tonight, I'll read them out in the Total BS podcast out on Monday. Hi, Bernie, it's Doogie. I've mentioned that, Doogie boy. Samuel Elliott says, do you think Carrick is trying to send a message to the recruitment team with the team selection. Well, that's what I'm saying. We can only surmise. We don't know, but you're asking me the question. It looks like that. Why did they put Akpom in Saturday? So you can imagine my role as Carrick is a coach. The director of football, Kieran Scott, more or less rules the roost. Everything goes through him. And then he'll go to the chief executive and then the chairman. Yeah, I just think when I seen Akpom on the bench last week, I thought, right, Carrick's role is not necessarily, he says he's involved in it. He may be to a degree, but I don't think he doesn't sanction it. The top boys will sanction it, the money men. And I think Kieran Scott will favour the chairman and the chief exec before he'll favour Carrick, because they two can sack him, Carrick can't. Yeah, so I think that's for me, looking for the outside, that's the way it goes. But I just think putting Tuber on the bench was a wee statement of saying, I still pick the team and I'm putting him on the bench. And you imagine the money men up in the stand looking down thinking, okay, you put Akpom on the bench, what happens if he comes off the bench, gets injured? That's the end of that one. So there might be a bit of that. But as I say, Wilder was accused of selecting players and picking dodgy teams, and so was Warnock. And now people are suggesting that possibly he's doing that as well, Carrick. Where's Woodgate? Not on the bench. I don't know, to be honest. Joe Bloomfield says Steve Gibson is only a millionaire, not a billionaire. That's very true. This bloke works wonders for the club. He will look after us. Be careful what you wish for Joe Bloomfield. Hey, look, I agree with that as well. Steve Gibson's been magnificent. I mean, people say the town's on its arse. The club would definitely be on its arse and out of business if it wasn't for Steve Gibson. Young director, stuck by through the great days, the shit days, the dark days, and there's been many of them. He played a massive part in resurrecting the club when we were in liquidation and bankruptcy. So don't forget that. You can't just brush over that. But again, we move up to speed today, and Steve Gibson does his best as a millionaire. But it just so happens in the modern game, there's billionaires out there now, and they're all, yeah. But would you want a chairman, as I say, nobody's going to buy him. I don't want to get involved in that one. Should be thankful Steve Gibson's in charge. I can have my saying Steve Gibson, but I still admire and appreciate, but I'm not a sycophantic fool that I agree with everything that's done at the club and who comes in and who goes. No, I've got an opinion. Get Engel and Latte Lath or whatever, and the team will take shape, then see what we can grab before the transfer window ends. This is long, so I just want to Paul Kelly, so get Angel, Latte in, then see what we can grab before the transfer window ends. As for three goalkeepers, we will lose Deng and the Aussie one for a few games due to Continental Championships matches. But for me, I'd have kept a young kid, yes, Albrin, who's been on loan, and let him play. Why? But a 30-something goalkeeper we're going to make nothing on. Makes no sense. Young Bryn should have been given. I've said it on here, Paul. I don't get this Albrin thing. Somebody said, well, maybe he can't play with his feet, meaning goalkeeper's the modern game. I don't know. I've not seen the kid. But when I read that he get Player of the Year, was it Swindon Player of the Year when he was in Scotland? I think, well, we brought him back and then we just say, see ya. And by all accounts, Carrick says Coburn. Coburn will be back in loan. Although he came off the bench today. So we haven't filled, this is Ash, this is the other bit. This fullback report to be costing us 5 million. If true, why not buy Giles? Yeah, Giles was a big loss. Dave Bert says we could have had Gicores, that's the lad that was in the Coventry team last year, the big strong lad. He went to Sporting Lisbon, didn't he? 8 million. But an awesome recruitment team ignored Wilder and got Foz and Hop instead. Look how that ended up. Well, Foz he's played a few games, Foz. Times he's looked good, other times he disappears. Hop, I thought he disappeared totally because he's not made any imprint, or Piero's not either. I think that's another recruitment thing. As I say, Wilder never signed him, dear God. Cadology hoping for a bigger fee for Akpom. Well, it could be anything. You know, Carrick says it was to G the players up that he's on the bench, but he was never coming on. I think it's more disruptive putting Akpom on the bench. Some players within will be thinking, they wouldn't say it publicly, in the modern society, they wouldn't say anything, but they must be thinking, hey, we've got a flicker of hope here, he's going to stay. Top scorer staying, brilliant. Come on. Then all of a sudden, ain't in the radar midweek, ain't there today, and then they'll be we're reading on their iPhones or whatever that he's on his way to Lens. And for me, that's disruptive. That's not good for morale in the dressing room. I love the borough. I'm frustrated with the top brass. The amount of money they have wasted over the years. Let's see if you Andy Appleyard, Sombalonga, Fletcher, Flint, Savile, Stead, selling the best striker that Pulis didn't play. Bamford, clueless. So short-sighted, not cementing Chuba down to a new contract. As I say, have you read anywhere, I don't read papers, but have you read anywhere that we offered Chuba a contract and he turned it down? If you have, please tell me, because I'm just surmising that I don't think we offered them a contract. I've never heard anything about that. And if we didn't, why? Again, I would, on the flip side, I would think, well, why have we not offered them one? He's going on 28, he's had one magnificent season, he's at his pomp right now, we can make more money right now. So if I was a businessman, I'd probably be thinking along those lines as well. Maybe that's what the club's thinking. I'm trying to be balanced here in my views. As a fan, I want Akpom. Brilliant last season. Yeah, but I hear people say, but he didn't do it this year before that and the year before that, and he was crap and everybody's written him off. 10 minutes already. Well, I agree with that as well, but last season he was unbelievably good. Top scorer in the division, all the accolades, ruthless, good touch, energy, was fit. And then all of a sudden, before pre-season, I don't even know where he got injured. Where did he get injured? And then all of a sudden he didn't play one pre-season game. Everything was chewed up for the move, wasn't it? Well, that's what I believe anyway. Why sell Boa before bringing in a left back? The recruitment are a joke. Paul Jones. Danny Teasdale says, Bernie, what happened to ready-made first-team players that we were promised? I don't know, to be honest. Were you promised? I can't remember. As I say, I don't really read papers, but were we promised first-team players that were ready? Foz scored 10 last season playing out wide. Yeah, he scored a few, Foz. He played a few games, scored a few goals. Morgan Rogers, 65 games, 8 goals. But most of them games, he played in the wings. Rogers is not the answer up top. Dwight Gale, wee smiley faces, actually Damos. Dwight Gale, he's somewhere at the minute, and he's moved away from Newcastle, hasn't he? Dwight Gale, a year ago, again, I would say the same thing. Wasn't getting a game, surplus to requirements. Scores goals, got a pedigree, got a background. We could have took him on loan for pay. Well, I don't know what his wages are, but I'm sure Newcastle would half it, or we would pay a quarter of it, and I'm sure he'd have got a few goals for us. Joe Duggan says Gibbo still has a large chunk of the Tav and Spence sales in his pocket. Add to that Akpom now. We need to reinvest more now. All these young kids up now are just League One standard, being brutally honest. Gibbo, act as soon as possible or Carrick will walk, and I couldn't blame him if he did. You know, some people are saying that, yeah, they're looking as if he's getting thrown under the bus. That's what the saying is, isn't it? Jones was dreadful today. Must be the worst crosser of the ball in the championship. Well, Colin, when he first came in, he was good at crossing, beating men in game and fearless, but a lot of that's been, I don't know if it's been coached out or his bottles went over the year, I don't know. Gibson either needs to cough up or sell up. But nobody's going to buy it, Jay. That's 50 million plus of player sales in the past 2 seasons and peanuts reinvested. Every manager comes away bemoaning the lack of backing from the recruitment. We sell them the dream, then sell them down the river. Birmingham, Hull and Burnley all thriving under new ownership. No more attractive proposition than we are. So Jay's looking at it at his angle, saying that he's only surmising, guessing, that managers are sold a dream, so whatever goes on behind closed doors, they attract who they want, meaning Middlesbrough, the hierarchy, and then when they get them in, they move the goalposts. Hey, I'm sure most guys in business do that. Not just our club or our people. All over the country, all over the world, the businessmen will do that. But I was talking to somebody the other day. They've got a job, they were promised, oh, you stay 6 months, you get X amount of money. 6 months past, 7 months past, 8 months, they confront you, oh, no, it's not happening now. Happens everywhere. Hey, I'm not saying it's right. Michael Paul says, our play seems very much in front of teams this season. We have lost 40 goals. This is the biggest thing. We have lost 40 goals. Ramsey, Archer, Akpom. 40 goals out the door. 40 goals out the door. How do we replace that? Scary. That's what Carrick must be thinking. 40 goal involvement from our team, Archer, Ramsey, yeah, Giles, and replace them with young players of potential, being inexperienced at this level. As a fan, I'm realistic in my expectations and will be patient with the team and the coaching staff up the borough. So a positive message for Michael. As I say, I agree with that. Let's get to the deadline, and when the window closes, if we've not brought in the players that we require and desire, we need them, then you can vent your spleen and have a go at everybody. Anybody and everybody. But the minute, yeah, just we'll try and stay focused, calm down. And today was poor. Last Saturday was poor. Hello, Bernie. You okay? Yeah, I'm Mohammed. Hiya. I am done with the season. Big mistake selling Akpom soon. We made Coventry look like Barcelona. They weren't Barcelona, I can assure you. Barcelona. I know what you're saying. And I'm done with the season. What do you mean, Mohammed, you're done with the season? Come on, fans have got opinions. I'm all for that. You pay hard-earned cash, you go to see your team, you've got opinions. Whether I like them or don't like them or... Yeah, you pay, you're entitled to an opinion. Don't let anybody shut your opinions down. But you still support your team. That's the one thing. I've never went in front of papers, cameras, whatever, and said, don't go and watch your team. No matter how you're playing. I'd never do that. I'd never do that. It's not I've got my opinion, but I'm not here to convince anybody or unconvince them or distract or attract. I've got my opinion, I listen to opinions, and that's it. Peter McDermott says, absolutely dire, Bernardo, but let's see what we do with the Akpom money. Well Peter, that's a... Let's see... Would I reckon 11 million, is that right? 11 million, is that pounds or... Say it's £11 million. Let's see what we invest and throw back in. And then you got a rough idea. Is it a statement of intent or is it just another Holty fill and bob along? We'll find out. We are Rebuild FC. No long-term plan or vision. A club run by inept clowns. Well, Jay, what you're saying there, so looking at it in a balanced way, so all these boys were brought in, all signed 4-year contracts. Is that not them trying to? Is that the top boys or this director of football? Is that not their way of saying we're getting them in 4-year contracts? We're going to nurture them, groom them, and get them ready to go into the first team and sell them for big bucks? Is that not what they're trying to do now? Rather than this coming and going and loans, you know, just flirting here, there, and everywhere. Balassi, he was the other one, wasn't he? He was on loan. I was a Balassi fan. Balassi was exciting, he was game, he was direct, also had a smile on his face. Big Balassi fan. Him and Cabaran for me, under Warnock, and then end of the season he went, didn't he? And then we had Conley, wasn't a big fan, big lad. And then we had, who's your man from the Arsenal, with the striker up front? He was lightweight, and then he went abroad and did fantastically well. I think he's back at the Arsenal. Is it Barrigan? He's back at the Arsenal now, isn't he? Gibson has let us down, end of. Mohammed. Joe Douglas says, Hayden Coulson get ripped a new one by Sakamoto in time he came on. He sent him to the... Oh, dear God, man. Joe. Samuel Elliott says, transfer window should shut before the start of the season. This going into the season and chucking away points because we leave our business to the last minute is ridiculous. But I think a lot of clubs do that, Joe, because they're all playing the game, aren't they? You show your hand too early, people will abuse that. Want more money, bump the prices up, they're desperate. Hey, I wouldn't like to be in the chief executive position, the chairman's and the director of football. Saying that's not a bad job. You're under stress through the summer, window closes, you can go to sleep for 4 months or whatever, and then you wake up again and then you're into it again for another window. Not a bad job, is it? I don't think it's as easy as that. Absolutely dire, but let's see what he does with Akpom. Yeah, I mentioned that. Sorry, it's backtracked there. We must be the only team who in deep in the final third at the end back at the goalkeeper. We need some experience. The only team in the Championship not to score a goal yet, and the form back last season has continued. That's the thing. It seems to have, last season, I reflected on last season, I think, right, how did Carrick get it right? And I mentioned it all last season, but people new joining in now. Last season I looked and I thought, right, Carrick's come in, how has he been successful? Simplistic. Got rid of the 5, I'd have did that 10 years ago because I've been watching every game. Get rid of the 5 at the back, go 4. We did that. 4-1-1. That's he played, every player who played well, he kept the same team. None of this chopping and changing and squad rotation, all this shit. He did that. So he got the confidence of the players, they did the business, he supported them, says, you're staying there. Barring injury or sheer loss of form. And he kept them going. Then we hit troubled times, the most important part of the season, and for me, it was because he started chopping and changing. And there was reasons for it, because we'd already made the playoffs, and he was resting players and giving other players an opportunity. And I get that, but the one player, for me, that should have never have rested, dropped, is Chuba Akpom. Chuba was on 29 goals, fantastic season, brimming with confidence, and all of a sudden he was left out. And he had his own personal goals as well. I know you say it's a team game, but it's a straight you're greedy and you're selfish and you want as many goals as you can clock up. And I get that, totally get that. I'm in Akpom's mind. When I chatted to him, he had similar thoughts to myself. And he wanted that. And then it was taken away. Not because he was playing bad or not scoring goals, just because we'd already qualified for the playoff games. But lo and behold, after that, we leave him on the bench at Luton. He doesn't play. The cameras have panned in. He looked peeved off, and rightly so, in my opinion. He didn't drop Stefan. I wouldn't mind him getting dropped. But anyway, next game, next 4 games, Chuba never scored a goal. And 2 of the games were nothing games. Or at least the next one was definitely a nothing game because we'd already made the playoff. So for me, I know you have to stay professional and all that, but we knocked him a bit when he was right at his pump and he never recovered. He scored 9 and 10 and then he never scored any in 4. And for me, that was because he was rested, dropped, whatever you want to call it, in the modern game. What do you make of our recruitment policies, Bernie? Well, Sean, look, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of it. Definitely not a fan. If you're the director of football, right? This is where I would be if I was in the modern game. If you're the director of football and you were giving me duds and letting players go that I'm not happy letting go, and I've agreed at the start, but once you become a wee bit more experienced, you would start rebelling. I would say to the director of football, I know you're in bed with the top boys because they can say, yeah, I can. But you need to help me as much as possible. And you need to fight for me as much as possible. Because I want to succeed and I don't want my name tarnished or my CV tarnished. That's what I would be saying. Another thing I would be saying is, okay then, if it doesn't work out and when I get my marching orders, will you go with me? Let's sign something that says you get the sack as well. I'm cool with that. But there's only one guy that's going to get sacked no matter what happens. It's Carrick. And Carrick is under pressure, of course he is. We're only 2 games in, he's under pressure already. With Huddersfield coming, Neil Warnock, he's probably one of the last guys you want coming here. He's still got an axe to grind with the club, the way he's treated, the way he left, phone call, not getting into the training ground to clear his death. He's got a few things. The cup game, he won't be giving a damn about that. He's ready for Saturday, you get your money on it. They ain't going to come here and pussyfoot around. He'll be putting the boot in, dying to beat us, but we have to be up for it. We need to be up for the battle. And show it and give him it. Don't be upsetting the Wallflowers or the Gibble PC Brigade. You're not allowed to speak your mind. Hey, PC Brigades, don't worry me. I'm not giving a shit about PC Brigades and the Walk Brigade. That lot need to wake up. And nothing in this country's getting mended or sorted. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody wants you to tell you to wave this, say that, do this, do that. Fuck off. Not for me. I've got my own brain. I might not be Einstein, but I've got my own thoughts and my own beliefs, and I'll stick to them. Nobody's going to convince me that a transgender should run a play in the women's football. I heard somebody saying that the other day. You cannot put a man because changes the city, because everything's different and they're going to run amok. I heard Chris Thomason, the long jumper. I did a podcast with him last year. Chris is a great lad, well-mannered lad. Was successful in the Olympics and all that. Great Britain. And he's totally against that. That cannot be right. If you want to be trying to end it, go for it. I'm cool with that. Whatever you want to be, I'm cool with that. But when you say, oh, the men, because they transform, should then go into the women's sport where they're going to be stronger and faster, and I'm not for that. That's cheating. It's a form of cheating, isn't it? Too much politics in football. The whole thing's gone bananas. Everybody's trying to get their hand in, and I'm glad that wee ginger one for Scotland get the sack and all. No Strachan. Daniel Baz Joseph, I've got 5 minutes. Well, we'll do 5 minutes. I want to know the thought of these new signings. Recruitment has been abysmal, and did we do any fitness work pre-season? Daniel, I'd be bluffing it. I don't know anything about the pre-season recruitment. I know we went to Portugal. I don't know what kind of... I do know the modern player does more on the core. In my day, players were fit. I was fit. I'd be up the front. I know people say you're lazy bastard or whatever. When I played, that's only because I was hanging about the goal, because goals don't move, so I was moving as little as possible. I was fit as anybody. But I didn't have a six-pack, I was fit. And a lot of the lads were fit, but didn't have six-packs. But the modern player, if they take off their top, they are ribbed. Doesn't mean they're good players, by the way, but they've got good bodies. And similarly, they spend as much time in the gyms as they do on the training ground. It's amazing, isn't it? How the things transform. But on the eye, is it any better watching it? Joe Dugan, don't sit the fence. These are not Carrick signings. The camera pan didn't Carrick today. Carrick was moving about on the bench and he got booked. That tells me he's sort of losing his cool. I predicted this last season. When it eventually, because he's bought into it, we're all together and they'll deal with this and deal with that, and in the main he'll just accept it and coach them and pick the team. But he's been in there now for a while and he's thinking, he looks frustrated, he looks flustered. I agree, somebody put on the interview after the game or last Saturday or today, he's sort of a stutter, he's not really as fluent as he was. Club of skint end of, Daniel. By the way, if the club is skint, then that's fine. We will sympathise rather than I'm sure the majority would sympathise if that is the case. As I say, I don't know the financial structure, but the way Carrick's talking that the club are all right, didn't have to sell Chuba. Well, he's gone anyway, no matter what he said. Always been a selling club since my first game back in '66, Bernardo. There you go. So Peter's saying it's always been a case. And it is. It's a business. Look, I look at the football. I'm just into football. Love good football. Last year, brilliant. I want Carrick to be a massive success. I want the best for Carrick and the players in the town and Steve Gibson and everybody. But we've all got an opinion and ideas of how it should be done and how it should be played and who we should pay money and who we shouldn't. But the guys who really matter is the guys in control of the club. We've only got opinions. Who would you play up front at the moment, Bernardo? I'll tell you what, Peter, I would have to put the names in the hat. I don't know. Don't forget, we're only 2 games in. Give me 10 games and I'll tell you who I would pick. But as I say, looking at the team today, so Vernon Rodgers, I liked him last week, and even today, I still like. They've got something that excites me, and I think they could flourish. I'm not saying they're centre forwards, but they could flourish in our team. As I say, they're fast, they're direct, they're nippy, they goat people. They're pretty fearless. As I say, never troubled the goalkeeper today, but on another day they might. And I'm sure they'll get a few goals. I don't know how many, but... Hi Bernie, who's going to score the 40 league goals scored by Akpom Archer last season? And Ramsey, don't forget Ramsey. Massive gap, and that's without Gel's delivery. We have also lost... We've been talking about that since we come on at 5 o'clock, Andy. Massive holes to fill. But it's one of the downsides of bringing in loans. You're not in control. They're not your property. And when the end of the season comes, good, bad, or different, see you later, they're off. And that's what's happened. And it's Carrick's worst nightmare, that none of them's returned. Some people say, we might get Gels. I didn't believe we get Gels. Actually, he'll come back. Ramsey, when he was injured, he went back to Villa. Oh, he'll be back for the player. So I'm saying, no, he won't. He was never coming back. Why would Villa give us their player in case he gets injured when he's worth a right few million? We weren't risking our own players. Why were they going to do that? They were never going to do that. But yeah, 40 goals is a massive hole to fill. I say Big Stuart for Sunderland would excite me. If he came, the lad Latte or whatever you pronounce his name, Latte, is he Latte? From Atlanta, is it? His goal scoring record's quite good. I don't know much more than that about him. Don't say go on YouTube and see his goals. I've seen some players that Rudy just said, and that look on YouTube 5 minutes and you think, wow, what a player. And then you see him live for 2 and you say, what a nightmare. Couldn't have a bando. 4 at the back, played 2, scored none, conceded 4. Yeah, says that at the top of the chat, Daniel. Well, would you want to go 5 at the back? They played 5 at the back, but they were still very entertaining. Because you play 5 at the back doesn't mean you're negative. Doesn't mean they had loads of shots today. Okay, had a few saves to make. I'm not saying they were all well hit shots, but Pedro from Swansea would make a good number 10. Yeah, he would. He's a good player, him. Swansea wanted 20 million from him last summer. Not a chance. Forget that one. I would agree with that, Joe. Matthew Walker says, when you buy for the future, Bernie, the future takes too long to get here. Get some first team ready, lads. Hey, I agree with you. I remember Neil Warnock he mentioned 5 players. These are for the future. I thought, there'll be no future. You won't be here. They won't be here. And I think I'm right. Forget this. This is kidology bullshit for the future. There ain't no future. Footballers, managers, coaches, chairmen, except us, come and go. Every now and again they come and go, just conveyor belt, see you later. This building for your future is a load of old tosh. I've had a few years at Middlesbrough. We're going to play football, style of football. We're going to bring the young lads through. We're going to do this. We're going to play this way. And then it doesn't go to plan, and then we start again and we go another direction. You better shut your mouth, just getting out and doing the business. But I agree, in the modern game you do not build for the future. Because players come and go. Anybody's any good, we sell them. Anybody's not good, we free them, we kick them out. Pamela Turnbull says, best thing letting Chuba go. He'd have struggled to get into double figures with the service from loan players. Anyway, so did the right thing cashing him in. I think we'll finish mid-table and Carrick will spend the season building the foundations for the next couple of years. Pamela Turnbull. That's a nice way to look at it, Pamela, and positive. That might be, hey, it might flourish and it might be the best thing we've ever done. We're obviously looking at a new model. Let's hope it's the right model. Let's hope it's Cindy Crawford model. You wouldn't get double figures, I'm sure you get double figures. But yeah, maybe, hey, how do you know Chuba's not looked at? Hold on a minute, Chelsea's going to look, and I'm definitely not staying at Middlesbrough, but who else is going to make my goals? That was his main line of supply. Claire Robinson, hi Claire. Bernie, be honest, do you think Neil Bowser should go? I just think the recruitment is not great. No, listen, to point the finger at one man, it used to happen to Keith Lamb when he was there. I was never a Keith Lamb fan, if I'm honest. But Keith Lamb, the chairman, back then didn't have a director of football. They're all in it together. It's a collective thing. So it's not one guy. To point your finger at one guy, for me, is wrong. That's just hanging somebody to dry. But that's what happens to coaches and managers. That's what happens to them. They get hung out to dry up and down the country. But to point the finger at one guy, no, I wouldn't say. No, I wouldn't say that. I'd just say collectively, as Carrick said, they're all in it together. Well, they should all take the blame in the rap if it doesn't happen. Rather than one guy pointing the finger at one guy. Usually the managers take it. The coaches, oh, it's their fault. They don't know what half of it's going on behind the scene. Brendan Rodgers is in Scotland with Celtic now. Brendan Rodgers, you read between the lines, you can see it a million miles away. Less than last season, they were letting players go left, right, and centre. He didn't sanction them. If you didn't see that, then you don't know anything about football. It's happening. It happens. I mean, Conte went to Tottenham, signed one of your lads. Couldn't say I don't know anything about him. Didn't even want him. Didn't even play him. That's where we are. I think we all know whatever money we get for Akpom, we will only spend half of it. One or two signings, loan players, wages. Front line for me is Salva McGree, Rogers, Foz up front. Personally, I don't think Chuba would have reproduced the same this season. We'll never know that. I'd say we need a right back as well. A couple of forwards, or a number 9 and 10. That share at QPR is class little player. Well, again, when we say who would you like, well, you have to find out what money we've got available, and then we start scouring, and then we can debate it and see who's a realistic target. Relegation battle, lost too many players. Leslie Coates, Savo, you mean Silvera? Yeah, that's what you meant, Colin. I was thinking Savo, Millwall. Who would you bring in? What position would you look for? Me personally, I'd go for left back, definitely. Possibly right back. Another central midfielder, really creative goal-scoring midfielder wouldn't go amiss either. And 2 centre forwards. So I'd want 4, but I'm greedy. And it's easy sitting here saying it. To go and get them, it's probably very, very difficult. What makes you think no one would buy Borough? Birmingham, Hull and Burnley have all had recent years, all had recent takeovers and moving into the right direction. Location is not to do it. Jay, well, I've said, okay then, I've had this thrown at me for years. Tell Gibson to sell up. When things don't go to plan, tell Gibson to sell up. And I say, who's going to buy it? Well, nobody's bought it. Has anybody ever been in for it? Some people say, oh, the cable lads, they came in for it and Gibson turned down. We don't know that. That's pie in the sky. I don't know if that's true or untrue. But Steve Gibson has done brilliant. And there ain't no sheiks or people from Saudi going to come out here and buy Middlesbrough. No chance. People want to live in big cities. Newcastle, London, players who want to jet off here, there and everywhere, or go and see their family for a couple of days, or go on a holiday destination. Teesside Airport's got like 2 planes coming out here. Well, maybe 3. Teesside Airport, that makes me laugh as well. I came to Middlesbrough with Teesside Airport and I always stuck to that. And then they changed it to Durham Tees, try to get a glamour name. And I never ever called it Durham Tees, and then they reverted back to Teesside. Yeah, players with money and a lot of time in their hands and holiday, well, especially in the they want airports nearby where they can go. I know Newcastle does a few international flights, but I talked to Chubby Brown, 1-on-1, he says he'd be better up front. Chubby, he would hold a few up. Mohammed says, I can see Carrick walking away. The club did nothing to keep Akpom. The club have upset the fans again. No, but the club, if they didn't offer him a contract, and I don't know that, but I'm almost imagining they didn't offer him a contract. So Chuba and his agent, Chuba made it quite clear in Transplant last week when he says, I love it here, but it's out of my hands. What he's meaning is it's between the club and his agent. And they've come up with the answer that he's going to go. But the club, if they don't offer him a contract, he walks away a free agent. Middlesbrough getting out. So at least he can say, I've got 11 million for him. He's better than getting away with nothing, isn't it? I think we'll struggle to reach top 10 with the squad we have. We need some big names on to succeed. Personally, I totally agree with that. Same old story every season. All these other managers can't be wrong. They need to be helped. That's for Jack Griffiths. Timmy Leach says, those players on the bench were better than what was on the pitch. Dean Wilson says, I expect he was on 30 grand a week. Would you pay him more than that? I wouldn't. Who are we talking about? Akpom, 30 grand a week. I heard the song Belonga was on 35 grand a week. For a few years. I would give Akpom 30 grand a week. Especially if he banged in the amount of goals he did last season. Steve Gibson will use the money on his new pub and whatever. Mohammed, as I say, that's going to be somewhere totally different. If Akpom stayed, we have Severa and Rogers on the wings to create chances. But he's gone. Hypothetical now, he's gone. Right, a few more and that's it. He's left the club anyway, but yeah. Look, I could have told that last season. He was never staying Chuba. Never, never, never. Fans kid themselves, and I get it. The love of the club and the love of Akpom last season, the way he performed, and the team was great and it was great to watch, and we all think, oh, the loan players will be back and Chuba will stay and we'll add a few more and it'll be brilliant next season. The reality is that that's not the real world. Amy Buttery not confirmed yet, only we had bids for him. We have been selling clubs since the Premier highs of Janino and Ravanelli. Those days are long gone. Yeah, I think everybody would agree with that. We created this monster back then. Everybody's expecting us to bring guys like that's not going to happen. Frustrating afternoon to say the least. A lot needs to change, and Gibson needs to stick his hand in his pocket. We're definitely missing key players from last season and a lack of quality replacements. Claire Robinson says, we are 2 games in. I know it's only 6 points, but you can see what we need big time, struggling up front, and Crooks is too slow. But surely your director of football must have, surely knows about the game. Steve Gibson knows about the game. As I say, he's played it, whatever level. He knows the game. He's one of the few chairmen in the business that does know about football. So he'll be watching it probably as critical as us, but not saying it. And I know you're shouting, yeah, but he can change it. Yeah, he can. But it's down to money, isn't it? If Steve Gibson could blow billions for his hometown club, I'm sure he would. But he ain't that billionaire. He would, I'm sure he would. You don't stick by a club, young director, through the dark days when we're on morass and liquidation and bankruptcy, and then you become the chairman and you buy the club outright and you look after it and you nurture it and you build the training facilities and you win the first cup in 150 years and take it to a European final and bring in all the glamour. And then there's been dark times, and last year was brilliant and Steve Gibson got right. He brought in Carrick, brilliant. And at the minute, we've had a bad start. And I'm critical as well. But don't write us off. Some people are saying, oh, that's it. Come on. 2 games in, man. You must have a couple of bad days at work during the week. You got to go to work, you think, this is crap, I'm tired, I'm fatigued, hangover, whatever. Terry Cochrane, WTC, one of Borough's finest wingers. Northern Ireland International scored against England at Wembley. 1-1 draw. Bernie, you've got to look at the people who are bringing these players to the club. If these players went on the transfer list, who in their right mind would buy them? It's a fair question, Terry. I don't know the answer to that, but that's a fair question. So you're saying you've got to look at the people who are bringing in these players, bringing in the players to the club. These players, if they went on the transfer list, who in their right mind would buy them? Well, the players we brought in this summer, probably, well, as I say, I don't know the majority of them. I just know that 3's goalkeepers, and I thought, Dean Wilson, I disagree. There's people that would buy the club. Gibson's been great, but he can't take the club any further. It's billionaire's game now. But it's a billionaire's game, we know that. So we should be more grateful that a millionaire, we say that millionaire, a millionaire's in charge of our club from this area. And I know you move on. Steve Gibson, the fans, is only 2 people that remains at Middlesbrough. All the rest come and go. They're all fly-by-nights. Some are mercenaries, some are shit. Some of them I don't give a damn about. Gibson genuinely loves the club. Otherwise, he would probably put it in the market and say, hey, anybody want it? But you know what? So you tell me who would buy Middlesbrough. And why would they buy Middlesbrough? Right at this minute, today, if Steve Gibson went, do you know what? I've had enough. Oh, this crap, these people gave me stick and I've supported him for many, many years. Squandered millions. Yeah, I've got millions back, but it's a business after all, and I get that. I'm going to sell it. How do you think we come in? Andy Appleyard says, loved your interview with Chuba last season. Any chance of more with other players, even Carrick? Andy, I think you're through the club and it's not something I love doing, and I don't want to be in the pockets of anybody. You know, I do the lounges, I enjoy that, but I would probably be better interviewing players than any of the other ones, because I would ask them some serious questions and decent things and not being say don't say that and don't ask them that. I would just be me, and then it's up to them to play it. Only 3 players in our team today started in the Coventry playoff game at the Riverside. Hackney, Paddy and Lennon. That's a fair wee point, that, Liam. They were so bad in defence. Tom Cameron. Yeah, the defence was, there was more holes than Rab C. Nisbet string best today. Amy Buttery, 13 million. So The 11 for Akpom has went to 13. By all accounts, he signed for Lens. It was inevitable he was going to move and going to go, and we were going to get money, and the cricket's done the better for everybody. It's just sad that it goes right to the second league game and then all this is going on. As I say, it's disruptive to the camp, to the players. 11 million euros plus another 2. That's Paul Kearney reiterating. Why the hell does Carrington Crooks come out, Bernie? We played well. That's what he says on the radio and TV. Seriously, mate? You're telling me Carrington Crooks come out and says they played well? Well, maybe they're saying things like that for those that didn't see the game. I seen the game. We were poor. First half, I didn't even mention the first half, nothing worth talking about. Second half we did, we pepped it up, but so they just kept going as well. They were the better team. We went for the lines here possession, but we didn't do anything with it. A lot of square-laboured, slow passes. When in the last third, the finisher was powder puff. Sometimes you're wrapped up in that bubble, you don't really know what's going on. The midfield there was shocking. Yeah, we were chasing shadows at the time. Matty Robinson says, at the end of the day, games come down to chances. We didn't take ours. This group at the moment, in this time, doesn't do it for me in this moment. But hey ho, we're only 2 games in. We are. That's what it's. Look, I ain't a PR man. I'm not in anybody's pocket and in bed with anybody. I like to think I'm a straight talker. I am a straight talker when it comes to football and most things. 10, 14 games, I'll give you 12, 14 games. I'll really give it to whoever requires it. If we're not brought in or whatever. At the minute, there's still gaps of opportunity, window of opportunity, still open. We can still bring in 2, 3, 4 players and think, wow, how good is that? Statement intent. We mean business. Juggle a few things, get things settled, and we're on my way. At the minute, I don't think, Carrick can't be settled. He's seen 2 games, and despite what Amy says that he'd been quoted today was good, deep within him, no, it wasn't good. That's Cadology as well as putting Akpom on the bench. We weren't good. Far from good. I think we had 1 shot on target. The rest, as I say, the most annoying, frustrating thing for me as a forward-thinking player and guy was every time we shot, blocked. Are we really that slow we can't get a shot off? Right, 3 more, finished, because I've overshot 20 minutes, I'm over, dear God. And thanks for joining us. I know it's odd, 12:30 kick off, 5 o'clock on here. Let's end on one thing. We are 6. Says pints, I'm sure he meant points. Danny Teasdale, I put a smiley face, he meant it. Somebody said points. Andy Amity says, hi Bernie, hope you're well. Lots of doom and gloom, but let's think of the positive. 44 games to play, that's brilliant, Andy. Hopefully the pink seats at Riverside can be red again. Right, one more, this is it. Jude Dugan, it's embarrassing. If he does walk, fair play to him. No way to treat an exciting upcoming English manager with connections in the game he has. So he's obviously referring to Carrick. If he does walk, no way treat him. Listen, they've got Steve Gibson and the clubs gave him a massive opportunity to flourish in the game that he loves and was ever so good at Man United, and background's great and coaching with some of the top managers learning off the top boys. Last year, everything was impeccable. 99.9% he'd done everything right. This season was always going to be difficult. We didn't get promotion, less money. We brought 7 players in. Only he can answer how many he's responsible for bringing in. I would probably say none. But I'm only guessing now. Maybe he did. Anyway, listen, thanks very much for joining us. Where's my sponsors, because they're very important. Thanks to Galaxy Blinds, Cornerstone, GRS Installation, Dovecot, Advanced Utility Solutions, Ocean Line, Ultimate Windows, Cleveland Systems Engineering, TGM. Thanks for your support, thanks for your backing. I love doing it. I've got an opinion. I love Borough. As I say, I want to just give my honest, forthright opinions, because if you love something, you're going to be criticising them as well as stroke their egos and pat them in the backs. This stuff about, oh, you can't say it. Go and get a life. Anyway, thanks for joining us. I'll be back on Monday, Total BS podcast. It's part 2 of Mike Peters from The Alarm. And Mike, if you don't know, Mike Peters with The Alarm has been in the business 40 years. He's still going, still touring. Mike's played with some of the biggest names around. The younger generation, I think, Mike Peters, check him out. The Alarm. Signed with Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, Bono, Neil Young. Incredible career he's had. Read about him. Listen to the podcast. I'm looking forward to listening again. Thanks very much for joining us up the border. As I say, 2 games in. Wasn't good today, but hey, next week, bring on Neil Warnock's Huddersfield. We're going to eat them, hopefully. See you later. Cheers. See ya.